I'm Monique from Ladybug's Cabin.
I'm Karen from Big Sky Fiber Arts.
And we wanted to wish you a very happy Valentine's Day. Now, Valentine's Day is notorious for everyone feeling like they have to make sure that they send lots of cards out to the people that they love. And that's fine, but we also wanted to encourage you to know that there are 364 and actually 365 extra days because we have an extra day this year, right? Anyway, we wanted to encourage you to find ways to send a little love out to the people that you care about. Maybe somebody who needs a little pick-me-up, or maybe just someone that you wanted to say, hey, you know what? Love you. So we've made some little cards today, and we hope we inspire you to get out some of your fun things and make some as well. We're going to go over a lot of different techniques. You can use all or none. You just make whatever you'd like. The most important thing is just to get together with a friend and have some fun with some fiber. So in this little card, I'm going to demonstrate using some deco foil, talking about some different stitching, some Angelina, a little luchador envelope, and a little hidden heart felt right there.
All right, and I have this super easy flower card. We've used Merino roving and some fun locks, and it just goes together very fast. This flower takes about 15 minutes, so it's one of those things that you can just enjoy doing quickly, playing with your fibers. You could use merino, cordell, whatever you have on hand.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Should we get started?
We should get started.
All right, let's go.
Well, this is exciting. I'm looking forward to...
So just talking to me a little bit about the background for whatever you want to make, whether it's a card or a little piece of art. One of my favorite things to do is just to look for really fun and colorful fabrics that already have a lot of interest in them. So like these, you know, which have lots of different lines and designs, or like the background here that I use is just a fun...
Yeah, cheerful.
Cheerful colors, have a lot of movement and already some interest going on, so you don't have to work too hard. You know, and you get yourself your batting a little bit. I like to also work with a totally stable on the back, and that is my favorite go-to stabilizer because that allows your stitches to stay nice and neat. And some machines don't like having just batting against their feed dogs, so to have that little bit of stabilizer behind as you're stitching is going to make your life a lot easier and your machine happier. So this is a great little playground where you can have, you know, use some of your pretty threads that you like to use, the metallics. If you've got thicker threads, you could actually turn this over and do a little bit of bobbin work by putting those thicker threads in the bobbin, which is how I have done some of these lines here, which is a thick thread. Oh, look how
pretty those are.
And it's just a straight stitch.
Right.
You know, and then you can have some fun doing some couching. I've also added a little bit of fun here with some foil, and the foil is deco foil. It comes in little things like this. When you open up the package, it looks like that.
Okay.
And I'll show you how to do it. It's super simple. My favorite way is to take, this is a really pretty little butterfly. And what I've done is just cut this butterfly pattern out of the Steam-a-Seam, which is your fusible. And so this is basically paper on both sides at this point. But we'll take this little butterfly, we'll peel off one side of the glue and lay it down on the fabric, press it slightly, and then we'll do the foil on top of that, and I'll show you how to do that.
Interesting.
It's really easy, super simple. And even if you wanted to do something like this on something you're going to wear, it's washable once it's on.
Oh, okay. So
cool.
This is Steam-a-Seam.
This is Steam-a-Seam. Yeah.
Okay.
You can use other fusibles as well. I like Steam-a-Seam for this project just because when you do peel off one side of the paper, it's slightly tacky and will stay where you put it.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about sneezing in the middle of your project. Another fun thing that I used here on the edges is Angelina. Now, Angelina fibers come in different colors. They call these little jelly beans. And you can take and you can mix and match the colors and lay it out on your pressing sheet. And when you fuse them together, they create this really cool sheer but shiny fabric that is something that you can cut out. So if you wanted to, you could even, you know, cut out the shape of a little heart or something out of the Angelina and then stitch it down.
Look at your nice stitching.
Oh, thanks. And yeah, so between your pretty threads, your Angelina, little foil, and then we can talk about doing the little envelope later if you wanted to do the little heart in there.
Yeah.
But let's do the foil because that's really fun and easy to do.
Perfect.
So first off, we just take our little die cut shape here and decide which side the paper wants to release off of easier. So you start peeling, and you can see this is the side that has the glue on it.
Okay.
Easy enough because it's stuck to my finger currently.
Right. Yeah.
And then you just decide where you want to lay that little guy down. And I think I'll put him over here. So just lay it down like that.
Perfect.
And then we'll take it over to the ironing board. So adding a little bit of heat to the fusible and then letting that cool. That's the hardest part, is waiting.
Right, isn't it always?
I hate waiting. But you want to make it nice and cool, because especially with something this ornate in the cutout.
Right.
Just because when we peel the glue off, we want the glue all to stay together and down on the fabric.
Right.
And if it's not cool, when you try to pull that paper off the top, some of the glue might be confused on where it should be living. So it might stay on the paper and you get half and half.
I
Gently pull that up, making sure by using my little finger to feel that, yes, the tacky glue is on the fabric.
Okay.
So you can kind of see the ghost shape
Right.
of the butterfly there in the fusible. So we know he's there.
Perfect.
Now you can see that I've already used this once before.
Yes.
Now the most important thing about when you're using the foil is you want to make sure that the pretty side is facing you. Put that foil down on top of where the glue is.
Yep.
And take your nice hot dry iron and then just kind of move it over that area. Again, it feels a little counterintuitive to approach something that feels like this with a hot iron.
Yep.
But it's designed for it.
Okay.
So you just want to make sure you're covering that whole area of where the glue is underneath, because what you're doing is heating that glue up and getting it to be attracted to the back side of this foil, so that when it cools and we pull the foil away, it hangs on to the foil.
Perfect.
In the shape of the glue.
Perfect.
So again, we have to wait. Basically just let that cool for a moment, and then we will delicately pull the foil back. And as you are pulling the foil off, if it looks like it's not going to want to stay, then you can put it right back down and put your iron back down on top.
Okay.
Again. And then you have your pretty little...
that is very pretty.
Yeah. So in order to get your totally stable attached to your fabric, you're going to want to find the shiny side versus the papery side. You can feel it if you rub your fingers over the top of it. And then you place that shiny side down against the batting, so the papery side is toward the iron, and you simply just run your iron over the top of that papery side of the stabilizer, and there's a waxy coating that will basically attach itself to the batting and hold your project together. You can add whatever kind of stitching you would like on your project. Sometimes it's just fun to outline the shapes that are on the fabric, or if you've added a little shape out of the deco foil, you can just go around that shape and even continue echoing those same shapes outward, so that you don't have to really come up with anything unique or crazy in your stitching. And honestly, because these are such a small project, they don't require a lot of stitching. So do what you're comfortable with. Allow this to be a project that you can practice some fun little free motion stitches or some filler stitches on without having to worry about it. The other option you can have is to use a fabric that has a very strong design in it, and you can just simply follow the lines that are already there, just enhancing what the fabric is doing for you.
All right, lovely. So we're going to make some very simple and fun flowers.
Excellent.
All right, so we are going to use this 19 micron merino roving top.
Okay.
So the fibers are come straight. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a flower that has 3 petals made from this roving and 3 petals from this roving. And we'll use some nice pretty locks in the center. Yeah. All right, so the way we're going to do this is we're going to pull off one staple length, so the length of the fiber.
Okay.
I'm going to grab just like a 1/2 inch or so here at the end and just pull straight off. And so you want to hold it back far enough that this length can come through easily. I'm going to look at it and go, oh, that looks a little scrimpy, and get come back and pull off just a bit more.
Okay.
So we don't want these petals to be overly fat, but we want them to be nice and fluffy. So my width here is about 1 inch. And so we're going to gather them up and go to the corners and just give it a little roll with your fingers. So we're just kind of rolling it to get it together, a nice point. And then I'm going to take a look and go, which side do I like better? And I think I like this side less, and so I'm going to take this and I'm going to needle it a bit just to get these fibers intertwined.
Sure.
But we're not going to overly felt it because we don't want we like that fluff and that shine. So we're going to pick it up And then we're going to bring these points together, right? So I have like a nice triangle. Now I want my petal to have rounded edges here at the corners. And so the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to flip it over because I like the other side better and I want fewer needle prints on that side. And I'm just going to point and make a little line here where I really want the end of my petal to curve. So it's just curving like this. And needling it that way in a curve just makes it easier for us to fold these fibers over. And so I'm going to pull them in like this. And pull these in like this. So kind of looking at it I'm just maneuvering it to get more of a little bit of a petal shape. Kind of like that. And if you want to give it just a little touch here to flatten it out a bit, you can. And then we'll flip it over, and then it just kind of has a nice little smooth look. Does that make sense?
That's pretty.
Good. All right. So, yeah. Very good. So, here you are.
All right.
Little fibrous joy. All right. I'm going to make some with this. Yeah. So, and this is fun because it's variegated, and so you have
pretty.
Different colors. Like with this one, as I make my petals, I like to think, okay, this is light, so maybe the sun, think about where the sun is hitting the fiber. And I think with this fiber, you can get a little of that warmth.
I love having all those extra colors in there because you don't have to work so hard.
Yeah, it's true.
It's doing half the job for you.
It is. Yeah, this is a super quick flower.
That is fun.
Yeah, that's a fast petal.
Okay, I think I like the other side. Let's do this side. So we just poke along the edges to create the curve and then fold that over the top of the line that you've just stabbed. Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, and then, it's just your preference how puffy or thin or small or big you want your flower to be. Because you could pull off less fiber and come out with a much smaller, and thinner. So if you really would rather have a flower that has fairly thin petals.
Small and delicate.
Then just pull less out. So don't go as far in on the fiber when you're pulling. But, we're making kind of a moderate sized flower. And so we're leaving them a little puffy.
I like the puff, though.
Yeah, I think the puff's kind of fun.
This has got a lot of highlight on it.
Yeah, that's good.
I like it. Cool.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, that's pretty.
You're just zipping along.
Well, you made the first one.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Because, yes,
Why am I
it is a
teaching
race.
this?
Oh, that looks great. I love the little bit of yellow in that one.
Yeah, I like
pretty.
the yellow, too.
Yeah, it's very subtle, but it adds a lot.
Yeah, I think the yellow is nice. Well, you can pick locks.
Oh, okay.
Look at that nice little pile of locks.
So fun.
Yeah, and some of the fuchsia's good.
And you have a variety of these colors, right?
I do.
Yeah. Because I have spent some good time sitting around
playing
looking
with
through
the
your
locks.
colors that you have.
Yes.
Because my mother's rule, which I love, is if 3 colors are good, 42 are better.
Perfect.
It's just fun to feel.
Yeah, well, those are particularly silky. Those ones are mohair.
Mohair.
Mohair from a goat.
It's just got fun texture too.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they have a nice little curl that's good for a stamen, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Winsleydale too, as well.
Yeah.
And Teeswater, they all have a nice little curl for a fun stamen. Kind of line these up like we want them. And we're just using the ends of these petals to felt together. So we're just kind of piling them up in the center.
Overlapping the center.
Overlapping it. Thank you.
That's the technical term.
That's the technical term. Thank you. Yeah, so then we're just kind of going to stab it in. And what's fun about this...
Immediate flower.
Yeah, it's like an immediate flower. And what's fun about this is you can kind of start to maneuver the little petals.
Nice.
So that they have a little, life of their own.
Yeah.
And shape. And then we're going to put this on fabric. And so we actually will probably needle it into the fabric and the batting a little more and shape it. So
you may have too many locks there. I couldn't help myself. So
yeah, they're kind of fun. And I like the orange and the fuchsia together.
I do too. I really do.
Little mess in there. And let's just kind of see if it can go. And if it can't all go, then we'll take some out.
Sure.
But I kind of like how that goes. And I just stab them in.
Oh, that looks great.
Isn't that kind of cute?
Yeah.
So very fast, like
So pretty.
10-minute flower. So then if we want to, we can make, stem. So we're going to pull off, this wool is kind of fun because it has lots of different colors.
Pretty, pretty, pretty.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to pull off like 1/3 of an inch or so. And we're going to do it kind of like we just did with the petals. We're going to needle down the center and then just roll the wool in. And then we're going to rub it between our hands.
Okay.
Until it's firmer. Let's see. I guess that's about right. If we wanted to, it could also be nice. Like I'm going to roll it here.
Yeah.
If we wanted to, we could get a dish with some warm water and just a dash of soap, dip it in, and roll it between our hands like this, and then let it dry.
Okay.
And that like is just a nice quick way to get a firm stem. But since we're not doing a standalone flower,
Right.
we don't really need to have it a very forceful stem.
It's going to be supported.
Yeah, exactly. If we wanted to, we can, kind of firm it up by going in the middle and folding things in and then rubbing it a little more until we have the thickness we want. So, and now this flower, if we had wanted to position it so the petals were flipped over, we could leave some of this loose so that we could attach it to the edge
to the bottom
flower.
Right.
But we probably won't need that for
Right.
what we're doing. So there we have it. And would
Cool.
you like to make a leaf?
I'd love to make a leaf.
Very good. I will just make them similarly to how we made our petals. Yeah, something pretty simple. And if we wanted to, we could use a little, you can get a little highlight.
Right.
All right.
Cool. So in order to add your flower now to your stitched background that we've already prepared, you want to lay your flower down on top of the fabric, the batting, and the stabilizer on your mat, and then take a single needle and just gently work the fibers down through the fabric so that they're actually blending, and you'll be able to see them come through on the back of the stabilizer. You don't have to poke too much since this is going to be something that is washed or worn, but you do want to make sure you get your fibers blended, and then you have it on your background. So now, in making the little envelope that I've attached it here, you can make this in any size you want.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a 5x5. This is a
Okay.
3x3, just to sort of show you. And it's, again, a really super simple thing to do. You've got your little square of luchador. Now this has been painted green. The one I have here has been painted blue, but you can paint it whatever color you want.
All right.
And so what you're going to do is you're just going to fold it corner to corner so you have a nice little handkerchief.
Mm-hmm.
Now from here, you're going to take one side of the handkerchief top and fold that triangle down so the little point meets in the middle there.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Now you take one little side and move it over to the side here. So you've got this little guy, both layers.
Right.
And then do the other side and fold that in.
So you're making just a normal envelope.
Making the normal envelope.
Yours is so teeny.
It is so tiny. And then what you're going to do is open up one side so you have the two little guys, and you're just going to tuck that little guy inside the other. So this little point side is going to fit inside these two folds. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
so the fold here
Yeah, exactly.
is going to take this
Right, and
one.
go right inside. Yep. And then you've got your nice little envelope
Okay.
tucked in.
And then do you stitch it?
I do, yeah. You can fold it enough that it would hold on its own, but because I'm going to stitch it down onto the top of my card anyway.
Right.
So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to make my little stitch line will be here along the bottom and back up the side.
Okay, so you're saying you're going to stitch along the
Exactly, from the
outside.
sides along the bottom and up the side.
Yep.
Leaving the top obviously free so
Open.
it can
Makes
close.
an envelope.
Exactly. Now you can either tuck that little top one into your envelope, or like on this one here, I decided I wanted to add a little button
Right.
and a little elastic guy to go around the button to hold it closed.
Uh-huh. Makes sense.
So lots of options there.
Perfect.
So in order to make the back of our cards, when we stitch the front to the back, I'm using this really fun This is Faber-Flare, and it is fusible on one side. So
Let's
it's a
say
really
that again. Faber-Flare?
it's like fabric flare.
Okay.
Faber-Flare. And so it's got fusible on one side. You can kind of feel the bumps on one side there.
Yep.
So what I do is I just lay this down here.
It seems kind of thick too.
It's very thick. It's a very thick interfacing, so it's a nice stiff way to, you know, hold your piece rigid.
Nice.
Or if you want it as a card, it will also make it a little bit more sturdy. So I've cut my fabric an inch wider than this is. And then I'm going to basically wrap it like a little package. So folding it in at a 90-degree angle here in the corner. So the fusible side of this is facing upwards. And then I'm just going to go around and heat those corners up.
That's a nice, easy way to do this.
It's super simple, nice and finished on the edge, and then you just pull that up to meet, and again, heat that up so that it adheres, and you get that lovely clean edge. No stress. You'll notice that I am keeping the iron away from the bare area of the fusible and just keeping it on the fabric. If you're a little bit worried about hitting that, you could always put a piece of parchment paper here to protect you from accidentally going across the fabric and getting any fusible on your iron. So now all you need to do is trim up the top of your cards and do a little finishing on the edges. A simple zigzag stitch works wonders. You can also play with some couching or adding in a little bit of yarn or Angelina. Play around, have some fun. All you need to do is finish the edges, and then you put the top and the back of the cards together and do a simple straight stitch all around the edges, and you've got a nice, finished, beautiful card. Hopefully something that will bring joy to your friends, your family, or maybe even to yourself. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this project. We look forward to seeing what you create. If you need any of these products, you can find us on our websites at ladybugscabin.com and bigskyfiberarts.com. Hope to see you soon.